What's up, everybody? This is the CanesInSight podcast powered by Anajar and Levine, and we have a new commitment for the Miami Hurricanes, and it is a big one. Top 150 player nationally on the 247 composite, Bryce Fitzgerald, defensive back / athlete, receiver, you name it, do-it-all player from Miami Columbus High School, the alma mater of Peter Reeves. Pete, hop in. This is one of your guys.
Yeah, I should have worn my Columbus stuff here, D. I dropped the ball on that one, but the connections stay strong. Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal, Ryan Rodriguez. I mean, who am I missing? Anyone else on the team right now? No.
No, that's a good start. And look, as a Belen guy, I have to note that Fitzgerald did have the grades to go to Belen. He went there. He passed the test. So intellectually, you're talking about the elite of the elite. Chose to go to Columbus for athletics. I'll support it because he is now elected to join the University of Miami, choosing Miami over Florida State, over LSU, over a lot of top programs. And this is one of the most coveted athletes in the South. I mentioned the rankings just to go over them again. You're talking about 130th on the 247 composite, 21st ranked player in Florida. Is he a safety? Is he a corner? That's what we'll figure out now that he's on campus, and we'll talk about it here on the podcast. But statistically, 10 interceptions last year for Columbus, including 2 in the state championship game against Jacksonville Mandarin, and some very, very talented players on the other side there. When he was at Belen, they won the state championship in basketball. So he won state championship in football this year for Columbus. 2 years ago, won the state championship in basketball as a starter for Belen, averaged almost 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals as a sophomore. So this is an all-around athlete who really does a lot with the ball in his hands, with the ball out of his hands, and brings a very interesting skill set to the University of Miami.
Yeah, runs track as well. And, he returns punts for Columbus. The speed is there. I've heard great things about him as a basketball player as well. We'll play his highlights here in just a moment. And he's going to be playing basketball at Columbus this year too, which he did not do last year. So obviously Columbus, powerhouse in basketball these days as well with the Boozer brothers. Shout out to head coach Andrew Moran over there, does a great job. But man, you're getting a guy who we talk about these multi-sport stars, D, and he's doing it at the highest level down here in South Florida.
And multi-position. So you're watching the highlights. This guy scores touchdowns. You're seeing him receive the ball, break tackles, make guys miss, score touchdowns. Here you're seeing him on kickoff return, taking it to the house. You're seeing him when he gets the ball in his hands on defense, take it to the house. This is something that's been missing at the University of Miami. Defensive backs who can score on special teams, who can score on offense, who can score on defense. That's Philip Buchanan. That's Antrell Roll. We have not had that. We've been pining for that at the University of Miami, and I think that's something that this player provides. Tremendous ball hockey, 10 INTs. Look at the range right here. He's not just someone who could see it. He can high point it as well and finish the play. The speed, it's interesting. He ran 11,500 meters, which is below average. But then he went to the combine and ran 4.48 laser, which is one of the best times in the South. I think just watching him, he oozes athletic ability. Again, you see him on these returns, breaking tackles, spinning off guys, tremendous balance. Look at this. I mean, he plays strong on his returns. You'd like to see, I think the big question with him is going to be physicality on defense. That has been the knock. Is he willing to tackle? Is he going to be a safety? He had 10 interceptions last year. You see him ranging over there at safety. Is he going to have the physicality to stay at that position? Is he going to move to corner? Is he going to play more like a 4-4 corner, which is what he ran on the lasers, or 11-5, which is what he ran on track? Obviously, you want the 4-4 if he's going to be a corner, or is he going to play offense? We've seen him in the 7-on-7 circuit just cooking guys at receiver. But overall, this is a player who's produced in multiple ways, in multiple sports. He's won state championships in multiple sports. He's got enough size. He's going to be a 6 foot, probably 195-pound type player when it's all said and done. Great hands. And I think, to me, this is the defensive back that you want to bring into your program and figure out the rest later.
Yeah, and his huddle says 10-9 in track, D, so I don't know if that's
he's had those times are public. Obviously, when you run track, those are official. It's not like, just timing with in the backyard. These are running meets. 100-meter times has been a red flag raised. But when he ran that 4.48 laser, I think a lot of that went. And then you watched the football highlights. He's the best athlete on the field. 7-on-7. He played for Team Ross. Shout out to Coach Duasso, Steve-O, the whole crew, Joel. He's one of the best players in the 7-on-7 circuit, one of the best athletes on the 7-on-7 circuit. And then watch this guy on the basketball court.
And these clips, I believe, were from last summer, a year and a half ago. So These are when he was a bit younger as well.
You look at the athletic ability, obviously the feet to stay with it, and then look at how quickly he gets off the ground. I mean, this is, according to everybody who's down here, look at that block, one of the best athletes in the state. The recruiting guys who've seen him on the 7-on-7 circuit have said it. The 7-on-7 guys have said it. Opposing coaches have said it. This guy oozes athleticism with his coordination, with his footwork. He worked out at cornerback at Miami's camp and did a phenomenal job at that. Of course, safety is his bread and butter. We saw him in spring playing wide receiver and corner. So is he going to be Cam Kitchens? Is he going to be a nickel? Is he going to be an outside corner? I think a lot of it depends on how his speed translates, and if he really plays to that 4.4, which I think he's closer to that 4.4 than that 11.5, and his physicality, if he tackles. Because if he does tackle, this guy brings all the ball hawking that you saw with Cam Kitchens, plus more athletic ability with the ball in his hands, and just more overall speed.
And D, we say it, I feel like every time we get a commitment these days, but the character is there as well. And a guy who, look, he continues to get better, and everything I hear from people at Columbus, very high marks about him both on and off the court. But man, I'm very impressed with the basketball stuff here. You see the good hand. He's had a couple of impressive rebounds, physicality, taking it to the hoop there. And look, we understand he's a football player, but this stuff does translate.
Yeah, and look, we always play the basketball highlights, Pete. I know you're a big basketball guy. I got to say, of all the players that we've played in terms of basketball highlights, this guy's probably the best basketball player.
He's not just an athlete playing. You see him playing point guard. You see him, bringing the ball up court, kind of running the show offensively. Look at that left-hand finish. So I'm all in on him as a basketball player too. I'm excited to see what he does for Columbus on the court this year.
And you see he has size, but again, the burst. I mean, he's flying out there. It's not just skill, which he does have. He does have burst. You just look at Jabari Antoine, Miami's top-rated corner commit from Louisiana. He's a guy that played offense as a quarterback, played corner, played a little safety as well, and played basketball too. So he's similar in that
look
kind
at
of
that pass. You see that one, D? Let me pull that one back. I'm sorry.
No, rewind that.
That was that. Look at this right here. No, it's the next play. I'm sorry.
All right.
But here it is.
Ooh. There it is for Belen Jesuit. There's a reason why this guy is a consensus top 150 player in the country. And I think you have pure corner in Chris Ewald. Jabari Antoine, who's an all-around athlete. I think it's fair to project him at corner. Tim Merritt, a guy that can probably do both, but is a bigger athlete. Amari Wallace, more of your nickel safety. Recovering from an injury, it's bone. Hopefully that heals up. It should. He's a young guy. He'll be fine. I think Fitzgerald is sort of that wild card that you bring him in and figure out the rest later. And by the way, I've seen him in the offseason in these 7-on-7s. He can play receiver as well. He beats D1 corners as a receiver. He did it at Columbus as well. So if it just absolutely doesn't work out of these other positions, you've seen him return kicks to the house at a very high level of football with Miami Columbus, and you've seen him play receiver there as well. So that's in the realm. But if this guy were to go somewhere else and hone in on one position, you could have an NFL player from Miami Columbus, and you knew Mario Cristobal and Mirabal were not going to let that happen outside of the orange and green.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think, again, what have we talked about with this Class D is continuing to up the ante in that defensive back room, at safety, at corner, and you're getting a premier athlete here with this one.
And let me say something too. We at the CanesInSight podcast, the bank, we were the first to kind of say, hey, we're heating up with Bryce Fitzgerald a little bit. And then I went quiet. And I think, I know a very good source told me things are going to get a little crazy. Just stay quiet, let it pass. And you saw a lot of FSU buzz. You saw a lot of misinformation about the University of Miami, where it's coming from. I'll let the imagination take over. I think some of it was intentional. But ultimately, he lands at the University of Miami, which is where I think he always wanted to be. Miami Columbus guy, it just made sense. And this is a team that needs defensive backs with his exact skill set. The guys that can make plays and take it to the house. Miami think of the 2001 Canes. They scored more touchdowns on defense than anybody in the country. They would have gone 8-4 without scoring a touchdown all year just because of the way they scored on defense and the way they scored on special teams. So a guy like this who's proven that he can do that for you, I think is exactly what you need to get back to that type of team. I'm not saying it's going to be 2001 Canes. I'm not saying he's going to be Buchanan or Roll or any of these other guys. Ed Reed, I mean, I'm not saying that. But you're not going to get anywhere close to that if you don't get guys that did it in high school. Because if they're not scoring touchdowns in high school, they are not going to be scoring touchdowns at the college level. Maybe they'll get an interception and fall down. Maybe they'll bat down the ball. Maybe they'll cover a guy. But the ability to grab it, elude guys, find the end zone, that's God-given. That's something that is you're born with and then is honed over time with these sort of other roles. We're not just covering guys. You're not just tackling guys. The ball is being put in your hands. Fitzgerald, more than probably anybody that we signed this year. And even last year, I guess a Romanus Frederic, who, by the way, is putting on quite a performance here in camp. This is the defensive back from St. Thomas Aquinas, who was a receiver, who was a corner, who was a kick returner, having a phenomenal camp, pressing for early playing time. Fitzgerald, I would say, is the most athletic all-around defensive back that Miami's added to the room in quite a bit.
Huge pickup here for the Canes, keeping it rolling on the recruiting trail. D, I mean, do you expect things to kind of quiet down now as the high school season starts and then pick back up near the end of the season here, or anything else on the horizon?
I think this is probably it for now. We'll see Jamie French. That is an interesting that's an interesting one. By the way, Pete, I just put something in the private chat. Pull that one up so they could see if this guy does as a receiver. We'll see on French, but I think Miami's plan is to get all the talent that they've gotten in there here, which they've already amassed a top 10 class, and then win some games and get some win behind them and really make a move. But here you see Bryce Fitzgerald. You see the ball skills. This is at University of Miami, just cooking guys, 10 interceptions on defense, fluid route runner, catches the ball with his hands, well built as well. You see he's not a skinny kid. I think the weight's going to come on, moves fluidly backwards. He can click and close, and there's a reason why Miami, look at that. You see him covering down the field, maybe a little pass interference there. You see the breakup. He put on a show every time he was in front of Miami coaches at camp, which was multiple exposures with movement skills like that, with fluidity like that. And that is why the Canes were so hot to get him, because he is going to find a place on this team. The swing skill for him. It's like with defense, it's like NBA, right? There's always prospects where you say, this is their swing skill. If they can do this, they're going to go to a whole nother echelon as a player. I think with Fitzgerald, if he can play with more physicality, you watch his highlights, there's not a lot of tackling clips in there. He has the size for it, but you haven't seen it yet. If he can become a more consistent tackler and really bring that part of his game, I think you're going to see him rise to a whole new level of prospect. And now you're talking about a true elite defensive back, whether safety, nickel, corner, if he can tackle.
Huge pickup here once again for Miami. As always, we're coming at you every day here on the Canes Insight podcast, Monday through Friday. And of course, whenever news like this happens, we are right on top of it as it breaks with these instant reactions. D, I see you have something else to add here.
Like and subscribe to this podcast. Shout out to Coach Duaso, Coach Devo, the whole Raw team. 4 players from Raw Miami at the University of Miami. Drake Stubbs, best safety in the nation, newly minted 5-star by Rivals. Bryce Fitzgerald, top player. Amari Wallace, get well soon, another big-time player. And Ezekiel Marsalis. That's 4 Raw players to the University of Miami. Been very, very good. Shout out to Coach Duaso and the whole team for being good to the University of Miami. Joel, everybody out there, thank you. Alec, all the guys that have made that team what it is. Happy to see those guys perform and come to the University of Miami. Like and subscribe. If you want to get some Canes gear, I know Bryce Fitzgerald is going to the Miami Hurricane team store at the Thesis across the street from UM, gearing up for the season, so you're wearing those UM gloves and all the UM clothes at Miami Columbus games. Miami HTS, that's hurricaneteamstore.com if you are not local. Until the next commit, the next podcast on Monday, go Canes.
Go Canes.
Yeah. This an insight to the Canes, and you know we ain't playing no games. Joaquin said dominate, so that's what we do. Home of the legends and 7th floor crew, down in Miami where hurricanes brew. You here for the rumors, we bring you the news, cause it's all about the you. And nobody do it like CanesInSight. 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 It's CanesInSight.